Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to go to File, New, and we're going to create a new image. We're going to create this image 11 by 14. It's fairly big, but that's fine. 300 pixels per inch, RGB, and 8-bit. Let's create a brand new layer. It's going to be blank. It's a blank layer, and we're going to fill it with a color. So let's fill it. We're going to click on Color, and let's fill it with a fairly light gray. And we'll click OK. The next step is going to use a marquee tool, which I have the elliptical marquee tool, so I'm ready to go. And I am going to create a circle. I'm holding the Shift key, so I have a perfect circle. If I let go of the Shift key, I can create an oval shape or any kind of shape I want, but I want a fairly, and then I'm going to move it so I can see. I'm just going to move it, eyeball it somewhere here. Okay, I'm going to fill this circle, this selection, with the background color. To do that, I'm going to click the Command key and the Delete key on the keyboard, and that's going to fill this with white. I'm going to deselect. Just remember to make sure you deselect, and I'm going to go to Filter, Blur, Gaussian Blur. I want to go fairly high, so I'm going to go with something like around 130. That looks good enough. At this point I have my background there, which is useless. I can get rid of this. And I have my Gaussian blur, and I'm going to duplicate this layer. So I'm going to either drag it to the layer and duplicate it. My next thing is to change the marquee tool from elliptical tool to marquee tool to the rectangular marquee tool. I'm going to click the Shift and M, and it changes. So I am going to select the top third of this top layer, and to do that I'm going to click and hold past the edge, and I'm going to go way past, as you can see, and I started way past, and I am going to delete. Okay, now just remember, sometimes people try to go right here at the edge. You always end up with some issue, so do not do this. Just go way past and make your selection and go way past it. Okay, and now we're going to delete this, and you can see I'm going to deselect that. You have the full layer, and you can see a little bit of a space here. Okay, so I'm going to click V to get the cursor, and I'm going to drag my cursor, my top layer below, and so I kind of have a reflection now. So what I'll do now is I'm going to drag this image. There we go. So I'm going to zoom in a little bit. Okay. So at this point I made my selection earlier, which is another class. And you can see this is a group. I'm just gonna click Command E, and now I have this, and I'm gonna apply the mask. So now I have this layer. Okay, so I have my light background with my bottle, and we're going to create a reflection, and second a shadow. So to create the reflection, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go Image. I'm going to click Command J, and you can see I have I'm going to select the lower of the two, and I'm going to go to Edit, Transform, Flip Vertical, and now it's been flipped. I'm going to click on the cursor V, and I'm going to drag this. So just make sure it's always underneath, that the reflection is always below. So at this point I have my reflection. It's a little intense, so I'm going to lower my my opacity, and I'm going to create a mask, and in this mask I'm going to use gradient. Okay, and I'm going to just check my gradient, make sure it's the linear. I'm going to go from black to white, and I'm going to drag up. I'm going to keep dragging up. It's on low opacity, so I'm going to bring it up a little more and keep going until I can get kind of somewhat what I want. Okay, so that's all. Maybe I went too far, but you get the idea. The last thing is to create a small shadow. So if we zoom in, you can see the bottle seems like it's floating. We're going to create a small shadow. To do that, in between the two bottle layer, I'm going to create a blank layer. And again, I'm going to go to the marquee tool. I'm going to hold Shift M, and that's going to give me a so in this marquee tool, again, I'm not going to go crazy. Make a quick selection on the blank layer. I'm going to click Option Delete, which is going to fill with the foreground color. I have black. I'm going to deselect. Just remember, deselecting is very important. And the next thing I'm going to do is to blur this again. I'm going to use the same tool, blur, Gaussian blur, but I'm not going to do as much this time. I'm just going to go something maybe like 15, 20. So let's go with 28 and click OK. Last thing is transform this. So I'm going to squeeze it. I basically just want a little bit of a shadow, maybe a little too big, and I'm going to squeeze it so it doesn't go too far. Click enter, and then I can adjust it. Let me just remove the so I can see where it's at, and I'm just going to move it. I just want a little something so it just feels like it's laying on something. And here we go. I have my reflection.